What's up, board game people? This is going to be a long one. We're going to get fully caught up so I can get around to putting out some of the other videos I've badly wanted to work on. I apologize if my voice comes and goes a bit. Allergies are getting the best of me, and a quick change in the weather is doing me no favors this month. Now buckle up because we have a lot of exciting news to get through. Quickly, before we get rolling, thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. It's y'all's support that keeps me moving towards my goals of getting some better filming equipment, especially while YouTube is withholding monetization for my videos this month. Thank you all so much. Live on crowdfunding now, on Gamefound we have The Witcher Path of Destiny entering its last week on the platform. The game is sitting at almost 3 million in funding, and tons of interesting stretch goals have been unlocked. The Lost Tomb has crossed over the $500,000 mark on Gamefound, with just over 2 weeks remaining. This is an expensive and an extensive version of the game if you're trying to get it all. If you want to dip your toes in, the $100 core offering should offer a good value and a great look at the game. Dream Escape, the solo co-op survival horror RPG card game, has funded and it continues to reveal new unlocks every few days. They have about 2 weeks remaining and there hasn't been a huge add-on creep, keeping this project in the reasonable buy-in category. Nova Aetus Renaissance The Last Chance is launched on Gamefound. There's nothing new here. These are bundles in limited numbers, with price adjustments, of what's in production right at this very moment. These bundles will be delivered after backers and pre-orders from the original campaign on the Kickstarter have theirs in hand. But turnaround shouldn't be too bad either. Asheron's Fall is launched on Gamefound by the time this video publishes, and it's one that caught my eye. From the team over at Corvus Belli, Asheron's Fall is a miniature war game that plays out space battles between huge ships in the Infinity Universe. You'll manage the ship systems, power, and crew while trying to overcome your opponents. In the world of war games, and especially ship fighting, this one stuck out just enough to warrant a look. On Kickstarter, we have the X-Men Dice Throne, with only a few days left in the campaign. Sitting well over $3 million in funding, this latest campaign allows you to grab both the new X-Men for your Marvel collection, as well as past favorites and a few exclusives, including Deadpool. And for the horror fans out there, we have Saw, the Jigsaw Trials. This is a competitive 2 to 6 player game with a possible solo mode emerging soon. You combine cards to trap other players while attempting to escape your traps and become Jigsaw's successor. While it might be a tad bit gimmicky, there are some good bones here, and the Saw theme applied over the top ties it all together well. Oh, and that collector's edition severed hand? Yeah. Now, let's get to the news. Let's start with a quickie. Arydia is closing their pledge manager on November 13th. This is officially the last chance you have to get in on the action, so make sure you finish up those late pledges. This week they're sharing the rulebook and quick start guide for proofreading. Want an advanced look at it all and want to help make it even better? Give them a bit of your time and feedback, and you could get your name in the credits for your efforts. With Essen in the rearview mirrors, the eyes of the Unconscious Mind team are turning towards getting the rulebook shared with backers and the pre-production files finalized at the factory. The rulebook should be available in about a week's time, so watch for that in the next update. The pre-production copy will likely take a few months to get completely nailed down, and they'll be sharing component photos as they become available. It's an exciting time and great to see it all coming together. European invasion has begun. We gotta be careful with headlines like that. The zombie invasion, people. It's gonna be okay. Marvel Zombies Wave 2 is starting to trickle out across the continent. In Europe, all packages should be dispatched. In Canada, about 90% have been sent out. Asia and the Asian Pacific have had most packages shipped. The rest of the world should ship next week, and finally the US containers should hit port any day now. European copies of Ivion have cleared customs and should be at the distribution center now. Hopefully you'll be seeing your Season 2 copies very soon. Phantom Epoch's first fan-chosen adventure will be headed to Thespara. Now we must decide what our objective will be for the mission. Will we be there at the behest of the Shadow, the leader of the Thieves Guild? Or as rebels fighting the glorious chieftain? Mercs on a mission with a payout? Or as treasure hunters in pursuit of vanished technology? Also, they'd love to know where we should head next. Do you want to head to Ouroboros, Burkov, or a space station? Let them know by getting your votes in now. This update also gives us a glimpse of the Pyromancer's Advanced Class board. This is one of the advanced classes for the Arsonist expansion. Warcrow Adventures has shared some impressive progress on the project with us this week. The core campaign, Deathclaws of the Dream, the side quests, Thunderous Gusts, and Giant Morn Map, and the miniatures are all checked off. On the app side, core campaigns, the core sandbox, and the Deathclaws of the Dream all have their checks. Developing the game in parallel with the app has proven to be quite the challenge, and they're having to push back delivery on the project to summer of 2024. To ease that blow a bit, we gotta look at some of the final miniature samples that have come out of China. Just a quick one from Skyline this week. An updated timeline has been shared showing good progress in production and fulfillment beginning in February and ending in March. Let's knock out Okko Chronicles earlier in this video. No production details or timeline updates just yet. I'm gonna try requesting one and see how I fare. This update details the Last Hope expansion, including the new heroine, the Reckless Wind Reaper. The Wind Reaper is capable of delivering powerful attacks and can even take a few hits, but her power can be unpredictable and cause nearby heroes to take a stun counter if they happen to get in the way. The expansion also includes new Kamis with special powers relating to their elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Scenarios from the expansion include the Two Fortresses and Hideo Satoru's Confession. Fulfillment of Unsettled's reprint and expansions is in full swing. All containers have reached their destinations and cleared all manners of customs. In Asia and the rest of the world, VFI has begun bulk shipping to various regions. In Australia and New Zealand, shipments should be going out now. In the EU and UK, they're sending address confirmations, and your package will ship once you respond. For the US and Canada, Canadian packages are going out first for once, with the US shipments following shortly thereafter. This update includes a few video planet primers. I'll leave those for you to check out on your own. Back from Spiel after an exceptional outing, Black Rose Wars Rebirth is delivering a fulfillment update. For North America, the ship is due in port on November 17th. In Europe, the ship will dock around November 9th. Asia and Oceanic shipment should be starting very soon. Other containers have not made it onto ships yet, and they will share details once they have them. Stonesaga is keeping us all up to date on the latest paleo diet trends and their latest development updates. After a quick blurb about acorn processing, and it possibly leading to the invent of pottery and some interesting looking acorn pancakes, they dive into the meals and myths development. Food is a necessity, and cooked food in the game is a luxury and a boon. Food can cure disease, heal injuries, and even boost stats. On the core game development side of the page, we're finishing up a comprehensive iteration of the challenge cards, goal cards, and codex entries. Knowledge cards are receiving some refinement to save players from having to transcribe as much to their journals. Behemoth development is well underway as well, and they're working on the legendary resource items that you can obtain from these creatures. Testing continues and is reaping good rewards as the game moves towards a more complete state. Back again with another update, the Kingdom Death Monster team has put the finishing touches on the Frog Dog expansion, and it's officially headed for pre-production. Production of the Black Knight expansion is nearly complete, and delivery estimates should be available this time next month. The Ultimate Showdown board, formerly known as the Hard Plastic Showdown board, is also now in production, with an estimated shipping window in Q1 of 2024. In total, it's 352 tiles held together with 6 grids for easy organization, layout, and storage. Leading up to their favorite time of year, Black Friday, we can look forward to updates on the Campaigns of Death, the official release of the GCE, a Black Friday sale, the Pledge Manager for 1.5 reopening, a Kingdom Death Simulator Lantern Year 1 update, an updated timeline for the Kickstarter, and probably at least a few surprises as well. Pledge Manager stock is now strictly limited for Maladum Dungeons of Envron as they move into full production. To solve their cardboard conundrum, they decided to split production between a few factories that each have their own specialties and will lend the necessary quality to the project. This has slowed things down a bit, but it's looking like freight shipping will begin after Chinese New Year and should put shipping to backers in the April-May timeline. This update also contains the first of a 2-part series exploring the Of Ale and Adventure expansion. Check out the new adventures and classes available. Get a peek at some of the 45 events that wait, including side quests, hidden locations, and reference cards by following the link in the update. New human, Dwella, Eld, and Tragar characters can join your party. New townfolk skills will bolster your downtime activities, and new character classes will help this expansion bring character building to a whole new level. Pre-production copies of Merchant's Cove Mastercraft are on their way. They're now reminding everyone to finish out their pledge managers if they've not already. I don't know that this is last call, but it's getting very close. Once all pre-production copies are approved, they'll begin mass production. So lots of news coming out for Tanares Adventures, Tanares RPGs, and Tanares Ultimate Edition. Let's try and wade through the waters and get to what we can. It's time to pay up for Tanares RPG shipping. They did not collect shipping for the RPG orders when they got the shipping for the adventure orders, so make sure you get yours paid up by the new close date of the Pledge Manager, December 8th. Fulfillment of Tanares Adventures is complete in all regions. Sadly, they've run out of stock to fix missing and broken items with, and anything that's missing and broken will have to be recertified when the Ultimate Edition campaign starts to ship in February. They've shown off some of the dungeon maps from the RPG pack, and we got a quick preview of the power deck and a primer that was very light on details about the GM-less adventure pack that'll allow you to play solo or without a GM utilizing a deck of cards and a booklet. Spanish translations of the RPG material is happening now, with other translations coming soon. Timelines will be discussed shortly. Now on to Ultimate news. The Pledge Manager is likely closed at the time of this video being published. They still quote Q1 of 2024 as a fulfillment estimate, but their timeline heavily overlaps the Chinese New Year, so my money is on Q2 or later. They close out the update with a few shots of the pre-painted miniatures and a mass of their unpainted brethren that'll be joining them on the table. Production of Batman Gotham City Chronicles Season 3 is now underway, for the board game portion at least. Things seem to be on track to getting backers their pledges around April of 2024. The update keeps it pretty short and sweet, giving us a glimpse of the Two-Face coin unlocked in the stretch goals and reminding us about Monolith's upcoming Conan campaign. The Dungeons & Lasers 5 team is raising the black flag on their newest render of their amazing pirate airship miniature. They're offering quite a bit of customization on this one, and it looks to hold several miniatures on deck. The project itself is in the tooling process and is expected to take around 2 months to complete. Shipping should begin sometime early next year. Mass productions of Heroes of the Shire is officially underway. They've updated all of their print and play sheets, and they should already be available to backers. They'll be hosting another drafting tournament on Tabletop Simulator for anyone wanting to try their hand at some PvP. This will be happening in the month of November. Coloring books and A4 prints have arrived from the manufacturer, and they'll be headed to fulfillment centers soon. So a quickie for Dungeon of Doria backers in the US and Canada. The ship is officially on the water and due in port on November the 6th. From there, it will need to go through customs to be forwarded to the hub for final shipping. The Teburu team has been busy. The booth from Essen looked amazing, and it seems the whole design team got treated to a bit of a retreat. The update shows off some of the 3D printed and painted terrain pieces seen at Essen. These are definitely on my printing list once I get my resin printer back in shape in its new home in the garage. The best part of this update is an almost completely filled out progress chart, showing mass production sitting at 95% and QA quickly bringing up the rear. I cannot wait to have this game in hand, and I'm hoping to see if I can put together some games over on our Discord once it arrives. More mass production? Okay, mass production on Euthia, Crawling Shadows, and the Fierce Powers expansion is underway, and the updated timeline is being shared. Production should wrap by the end of November. From there, it will take 8 weeks to pack and freight the games to the hubs, putting fulfillment beginning in January of 2024. We're getting close now. For Primal the Awakening, production has been running for the last month and everything is going well. The core box insert design took some tweaking and bulking up to ensure everything is safely stored away, but they seem to have found a good solution. Shipping estimates have been received and they're busy building shipping tables, and prices will be applied to the Pledge Manager this month sometime. Let's all hope it's not too bad. A PDF version of the rulebook is linked in the update and ready for download. Most progress for the month on Werewolf the Apocalypse Retaliation has been focused on their internal, forked, role-playing optimized game system software, or FROGS to make it less verbose. Some progress has also been made on the 3D models, concept art, and shipping cost estimates. Okay, Vampire Masquerade Chapters. FROGS is being used to help create the Errata app for Chapters, so while it's a work in progress, it's coming along. Hopefully this will be an aid to all of you struggling through applying errata, stickers, and corrections and such for that game. White box samples for Harakiri Blades of Honor have arrived, and we got a good look, and some obfuscated glances at the various boxes. Files continue to be sent to the factory, and they took a moment to total up their remote testing time. It seems they're coming in with around 2,200 hours of testing having been completed. The box art for Jubei's Curse is in, and it's another stunning addition to the lineup. These are some of the nicest boxes I've seen for games in a while, and they're going to look great from any angle on the shelf. The update gives a deep dive into Suzaku from the Wrath of the Gods expansion, who'll be pummeling your heroes with abilities like Celestial Skill, Destructive Path, and Fire Pillar. These are just the tip of the iceberg, too. When fighting the vessels of the gods, one must come prepared. Agemonia has chimed in with a few updates since our last look. Production of the game is now complete. We're getting a great look at many of the amazing components that will be Tetrised into this overly large box and on the way to our doors soon. Just for some fun, but with light spoilers, they've included a few of the playtest reports for those eager to read through. Moral choices in the game take on more of a Shades of Grey dichotomy. Each hero has a unique story arc that will leave them following different moral compasses. Add in some faction rivalries, varying outcomes of the different scenarios they find themselves in, and just the freedom to choose their own path, and each player should have an incredible agency over their hero and their story. Hopefully we'll hear some shipping information very soon. Encounters and ambushes are at the center of the latest Kingdoms Forlorn update. Fresh off a fantastic outing at Essen, they're back in the studio and ready to discuss the many details of the smaller battles that will play out in the Kingdoms and Deep Fog. As your party wanders, you'll surely draw the unwanted attention of wandering creatures. An ambush occurs when these creatures get the drop on you, while encounters start you off on more of an even footing. These are meant to be quick battles with simple setups and quick conclusion. To aid this, we get encounter boards and enemy cards. An encounter plays out in a single round. You position your adventurers, taking equipment and weapon range into consideration. A quick roll for each miniature gives you the possibilities of starting positions, and once on the board, the battle begins with the enemy round. The enemy plays out one of their attacks, and it's on to the knight phase. The charge is led by a single knight, with the other characters making supporting rolls. You have a single shot to best the enemy armor threshold and do your best damage. Scoring a successful wound will grant you rewards and boons for the battle ahead. An encounter can also end badly for the adventurers, but that's a tale for another time. Ambushes and encounters add a level of variability to delves. They can possibly be avoided, or they might be sought out. Either way, they'll have a deep and meaningful impact on your adventure each time you step into the fog. Freight is beginning for Mythwind. The US container left port on October 28th. The one bound for Canada is waiting to be loaded on a ship. Asia and the rest of the world pledges are being directly picked up from Longpack. European pledges are being packed now and should go out soon. The container for Australia has been picked up and is already on the way. They're hopeful that most get their games by Christmas. Big news from Heroes of Might and Magic 3. The pledge manager has been extended by 1 month. All new pledges or any finished during this period will have missed the Wave 1 cutoff and will ship with Wave 2, but there's still a chance to get in on the fun. This update shows off the white box copy of the big box in all its glory. The latest percentage for Middara Act 2 and 3 sits at 78% complete. They've been reviewing encounters for chapters 6 and 8 while smashing out intelligent combatants, espers, and boss fights. They're speeding up their file dumps for the beta test files, trying to get more testing quicker to help progress along and ensure all the wrinkles are ironed out. Trail of Apprentice has ballooned a bit to include not only a small booklet, but a full-fledged adventure booklet, 4 story items, 1 companion, 4 initiative cards, 4 adventures, 7 tokens, and 5 standees. Finally, they've been scaling up some of the older baddies to stretch across all 7 loot tiers Middara contains. 66 of these baddies have been finished up. Some conduits have also gotten the same love. In the art department, Mo's work is almost wrapped, with only a few outlying items remaining. Their work on scaling and rescaling the miniatures for Act 2 and 3 seems to be wrapping up, and they're showing off the cast of miniatures that will be accompanying these massive boxes. Freight shipping of Lupercalia 2023 is still underway in the EU and Australia. Canadian packages should reach the hub on November 3rd. Lupercalia 2022 sets are due to ship out towards the end of November. It's Happy Halloween, and here are the rulebooks from the Deep Madness team. The rulebooks in English for both the core game and Madness Reborn are ready for download and perusal. They've submitted all printed material to the factory and are hoping for production photos soon. They hope to be ready to begin freight in December and will be locking down addresses as soon as possible. A new update from Steamforged on Elden Ring outlines the archetypes of the scenarios you'll find yourself completing. Exploration was sown extensively during the Kickstarter campaign. It will be exploring the open world and encountering hardships in regular combats. Boss scenarios are pretty self-explanatory. Bosses have been split up into their own phase to allow resets without having to go through entire dungeons again, so they are in a way checkpointed. Dungeon scenarios will be the more traditional dungeon crawl and can include boss scenarios during the delve. And finally, you'll see narrative scenarios with a more story-focused look at the world. Think choose your own adventure with plenty of NPC interaction. Furthermore, they've broken quests into 4 types now. Main quests that advance the story and are represented by the Guidance of Grace cards. Side quests that are given out by NPCs you'll find while adventuring. Class quests that are specific to your tarnished character and will grant upgrades aligned with your specific class. And ghost quests that you'll find exclusively during exploration scenarios. These allow you to scry through different sets of cards and give you boons while completing other types of quests. I could feel this man's spirit. It's almost unbelievable at this point, but Nova Aegis Renaissance is real, and it's coming. and Wave 1 of English and Italian are on boats and due in port at the end of November. Other languages are in draft and reviewing, which can be a long and tedious but necessary process. Hopefully these will be wrapped up in the next week or so they begin mass production of language materials, completing production by the end of the month. If you want to hop in on this, they're making 500 English bundles available on Gamefound in a new campaign they've already launched. These will ship after backer fulfillment and pre-orders are fulfilled. Fractal fulfillment has officially started as well. They've provided a status spreadsheet that shows all the orders and will be updated as they send out new waves. So far, a few hundred copies have shipped. Your order number is your Gamefound pledge ID. They also mention that should you have any gameplay questions, be sure to check out their webpage, as that has a player's hub with tons of examples and FAQ clarifications should they be needed. They'll also be answering questions over on the BGG forums. Most of the files have been delivered to the manufacturer for Dark Venture 2nd Edition. Punch boards are complete and the boxes for Beasts and Monsters and the Alder King have been designed and approved. The crawl was typeset, and the book layout is undergoing major revisions. They aim to have all the files to the printer early this month, and it may take a bit for the manufacturer to fit them in the schedule. That leaves the delivery timeline open still, but more news should be forthcoming. Address confirmations are going out for 20 Strong from Chip Theory Games. They identified this source of the manufacturing delay as a bad batch of PVC that was causing everything to lose some of the luster that should have been there. Final production copies are in now, and these starting decks are looking great. Mass production should be wrapped by the middle of November, and these are still planned to ship directly from the manufacturer to backers, so turnaround hopefully will be pretty good. The first batch of English copies is already on trucks and headed to the shipping company, Unexpress, who is handling the shipping, so those expecting English versions, be on the lookout. German and French copies should be following quickly. Shipping for Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend is well underway. In the US, all pledges have shipped. In the EU, containers have passed customs and should be shipping now. For the UK, they've shipped all the pledges. In Canada, shipping has started and they may already be done. In Australia, all pledges have shipped, and finally, in Asia, VFI should wrap up in the next few weeks. This has been one of the smoother shipping turnarounds for Awakened Realms, and I can only hope this spells out good things for the future. Now, language versions are always lagging behind for them. They're double-checking translations, and they're hoping to have these completed by mid-January. They will then update us with a more solid production schedule. Fulfillment of Burn Cycle's reprint and expansion campaign is just about done. Shipping in the US and Canada and Europe is complete. Australia only has a few packages left to go out. In Asia, VFI has all of the necessary stock and is working through orders. The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era is now content complete. Development is now shifting gears to testing and tweaking. The latest update is a bit light on specifics, as there's a ton of assets and content under review by Bethesda right now, and once that's approved, they'll be sharing more. For the game, every aspect is playable in its entirety. All enemies, skill lines, quests, side quests, and in-game scenarios for each region are designed. So now they usher testing into full swing while they get everything approved. The various books and components laid out and art complete, among the plethora of other things that still need to be done. I've also been doing a bit of live testing and have posted the streams from those sessions for anyone interested in checking them out. An all-encompassing update is in for both Language Wave 1 and English Wave 2 of ISS Vanguard, and the cardboard is piling up. Production of Language Wave 1 is now complete. Assembly is in process and the container should start getting picked up next week. Inspection of the English Wave 2 content has been finalized, and while Language Wave 1 remains their top priority, assembly is starting on Wave 2 as well. Shipping timelines for Wave 2 should be announced once Language Wave 1 is completely out the doors. The dice are done, but much more importantly, we have timelines for the delivery of Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness Apocalypse. Right now they're fulfilling English single wave shipments, English Wave 2, and Language Wave 1. For the US, the ship should be in port and the games should start delivering around the 20th of November. In the UK, ships are en route, and last mile delivery should be in the first week of December. In the EU, the ship is en route, and deliveries are expected to start the second week of November. EU Spanish and French copies should start delivering the first week of December. Brazil is en route and should deliver the first week of December. Oceania is en route, scheduled for delivery starting the second week of November. Asian deliveries should be starting any day now. Italian and Polish PDF translations are complete. Portuguese is sitting about 60% complete now. As noted, the Apocalypse die set has been recreated and the proofs are in the mail to be inspected for quality control. The dice will be delivered separately at no cost to the backers. The Apocalypse language wave should complete production August of 2024, and we'll keep following the updates as they come. Many of the existing Foreteller issues have also been resolved, and Foreteller is even launching their new web player that should make the entire Foreteller experience better and hopefully more efficient. The Castles of Burgundy 2nd Edition project is officially complete, and the game is moving towards stores worldwide. This is truly an amazing version of the game with a few caveats. Personally, my family and friends have all enjoyed playing, and it's earned a permanent space in my collection. I'll for sure have more coverage from the game moving forward, so keep an eye out. The Pledge Manager for Andromeda's Edge is officially closed, and they're moving into full production of the game. They're showing off many of the amazing components you'll find in your copies of the game, and this week the 3D resources are stealing the show. We also got a peek at several of the civilization and industry planets. The art by Sergio Chavez is perfect and fits the theme so well. On the development and production side, they're finalizing the files with the manufacturer, and they should be moving towards producing pre-production copies for proofing before too long. Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin is on track to start delivery in December, hopefully wrapping up English fulfillment in late January or February. The first mass production copy should be on the way to AR offices soon, and they're going to have an unboxing video for us shortly thereafter. This update, they're showing off the almost final versions of the Kings and Characters miniatures that will be shipping with this game. Fulfillment of Uprising Titans of the First Age is now 99% complete, with a few shipments still to go out in the US and Asia. If you're having any issues with your pledge, make sure and contact them so they can help you out. So what's next for Uprising? The Uprising continues, and the next big development will be trumpeted very soon. Worldwide fulfillment of Sleeping Gods Distant Skies begins in November. They should be at hubs in the US, Canada, UK, and EU around November 11th. Asian and Australian warehouses are already preparing shipments to go out. The official soundtrack has gone gold and is now available on iTunes, YouTube Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Foreteller narration is coming soon. It's finished and access should be granted before your game arrives. Development of Ancient Blood Order of Vampire Hunters is progressing. I hate to say well, because this project is getting quite long in the tooth at this point. Translations and proofing is done for the manuals and most of the Path event cards. Files have been delivered for the dice, and molding is ongoing for the dice and miniatures. The last items needing attention before mass production can be in full swing are the Den images, Elder and Hunter ability cards, and the Vampire Hunter compatibility cards. Fulfillment is in progress for Destiny's Witchwood expansion and reprint. English copies in the US are delivered, with Spanish going out now. In Canada, fulfillment will start in December. France is delivered, as is Italy. Poland should start in a week. Spain is delivering now. Australia and New Zealand are delivering. Rest of the world should start seeing deliveries now, and in Asia, it's in progress. For the UK, delivery is scheduled for mid-November, and Switzerland should start delivery soon. An update on app scenario completion should be coming out very soon. And wow, that's going to be a wrap today. We're officially caught up to everything I've been regularly tracking. I have quite a few more games that are being added to this list and will start appearing in the next few news videos. And if there's something you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can squeeze it in. If all goes well, I'll be pushing out a monthly campaigns video in the next few days, so keep a watch out for that. Thanks as always to everyone watching, commenting, and supporting the channel. I have the best viewers, and both our comments section and Discord really show it. I invite anyone interested to come join in on the conversation on Discord. Have a great week and play something new and shiny.